It's such a wonderful journey to be on with her. And such a gift because I feel like she helps me that way because I see that I don't have to work so hard to try to communicate and
Right.
that I can really be much simpler.
So look, first of all, I'm a huge fan of The Mandalorian. I'm a huge fan of Star Wars, period. But The Mandalorian is next level because I feel like it's a real blend of genres, right? It's sci-fi meets Western, but it's all these classic kind of tropes we love about Star Wars. And your
Yeah.
character, the armor, is one of the most mysteriously shrouded characters in the universe. Um, do you see the armor as an ally to Mando or a potential rival power base?
I'm trying to keep her shrouded in mystery. No, I think that she is an ally to Mando. I feel like um I don't feel like she's someone who is seeking power. I think that she has been I think that she is somebody who sees great potential in him and has been sort of trying to help him along his way um, to live up to his potential and to live up to what he is capable of without forcing him to do anything. You know, like any great teacher, she wants him to make his own decisions and to see the potential in himself. Because I think that that's when we do our best is when we're not doing something because someone else has told us to, but when we say, "Oh, no, I'm doing this because I see that this is the choice that I want to make, and this is something that I feel fully informed about, and that I see to be the best choice to make."
We're gonna see a lot more Mandalorians this season from different
Mhm.
sects. Will we see the armor interact with those that don't follow the creed, like Bo-Katan? And what can you tease about her feelings about these other clans?
We will probably see some interaction. I think that stands to reason that if we see more Mandalorians, we'll see the intersection of some disparate beliefs. And I think that her her views will have some people challenging them.
I like it. I like it.
My brain is like, what can you say
Right.
without saying too much? I have to be so annoyingly vague in a lot of these interviews. I think the fans are going to be happy because we are addressing a lot of the questions that people have had for a while and questions that need to be addressed. You know, they're uncomfortable questions about that happen whenever you have a group of people that adheres to a set of beliefs, and then there are factions and tiny little pockets or sometimes big pockets that say, you know what, we're going to do things a different way. And so then what does that do to the group as a whole? And the important thing is to talk about the differences.
Right.
um, and I think that that's something that applies to us right now too. There's things that people disagree about and we got to talk about them, and we're going to get to see the Mandalorians deal with it in healthy ways and unhealthy ways, and it makes for good storytelling.
Do you think the armorer believes Mandalore can be reclaimed according to the prophecies?
I don't know. I think that she always has hope, and I think that she's willing to believe. I think that she sees nonlinear solutions to things, and so she's somebody who uh, thinks in metaphors and not necessarily in actual reality. So sometimes, there's all she talks about the songs of eons past. She talks about different prophecies and things, and sometimes perhaps there's a prophecy that might be fulfilled in a way that is not literal. Who
Right.
knows? So I think that she's very open. She's somebody who is willing to think outside the box.
We know Mandalore is not cursed or poisoned as the armorer believes it to be. How does that revelation impact her?
We don't know. We'll have to see.
We shall. We shall. Now, your character is simply called the Armor. Do you know her actual name, or did she abandon her past identity as a part of taking the role?
I think her name is Pam.
I love it.
Yeah. I think it's just something real basic, it doesn't get in the way. No, one of the things I love about her is that we know so little about her personal life. Because and normally when I'm working on a character, I like to have so many details about backstory and about someone's personal history. But for the Armorer, because she does exist so much in service to Din Djarin, in service to the other Mandalorians, I personally have stayed away from trying to connect too much to what her backstory is, because it helps me in playing her, and we haven't established a whole lot for her. So if John and Dave know, they haven't told me. They've given me a lot of freedom with deciding whatever I want to decide, but they haven't told me much about her.
That's awesome. That's awesome that's kind of like you kind of wanting to like really embody the character and kind of stay away from that. I like that. Now, when I talked to John and Dave, they explained to me the relationship between Din and the Armor was similar to Merlin and King Arthur.
Yeah.
Is that how it was described to you, or was it explained differently?
No, we have talked about that dynamic. Yes.
Very cool. Very cool. Is there a Star Wars character that you haven't had a chance to interact with but want to?
You mean interact with on screen or in real life?
No, on screen, on screen.
Oh my gosh, yes. I want the Armorer and Pelimoto to have a scene together.
Yes.
Because I think that it would just be so awkward and amazing.
That would be
That
cool.
would be my dream come true. Also because I personally am a huge fan of Amy's.
Right.
I think that she's just brilliant and hilarious. And I can think of so many awkward just imagine the Armorer and Pelly, in a room together, and
the scenes just write themselves. I feel like they would be fantastically awkward and awesome.
Yes.
So great. Now, Dave and John did talk a little bit about the lineage of the Armorer when I spoke to them. How much do you know about it? And will we explore that in this season?
We will find out a bit more.
I love your answers, by the way. It's definitely like you've done this before. Is there anything about the Armor that you haven't had a chance to really dig into, but would like to?
I'm curious to know, I just got done answering this question about where, I'm like, I don't really want to know much about her backstory, but I do want to know kind of what she's lost personally along the way. My heart hurts for her sometimes because I think that she absolutely trusts the path that she has chosen to live in service to her people. And I admire that in her so much. And I admire the faith that she has because I do think that she has faith that things are going to work out for the Mandalorians. But I wonder, who she's lost along the way, what she's lost along the way. I'd be so curious to find that out. And I wonder if we ever will. I wonder who else she has sort of mentored the way that she has Din Djarin and who else she's been close to, because we don't know anything about them.
Now, what's the Armorer's opinion of Grogu, a Force wielder who was trained as a Jedi and now a Mandalorian youngling?
Well, I think that she was the one that made the decision to spare him.
Right.
Even though she knows the risks that come from Jedis to, towards the Mandalorian people, she was the one that said, listen, you're responsible for this guy. You got to watch out for him. And she sent them off together. So I think that she has a feeling that there is something good in him, and there is something that they need to protect in him. And I think she's very curious to see how he does grow and develop. And I think she also sees that he is the reason that Din Djarin went from being this, he was so intent on being a Lone Ranger and not being beholden to anybody. And it was because of Grogu that he started to develop this feeling of family and community and wanting to be a part of something bigger than just his solo endeavors. And I think she sees that as being ultimately a good thing. So I think she's curious to see what else he inspires in Din and in the other people that he comes in contact with.
Is the armorer more a maternal figure to the foundling, or something of a warrior chief?
To the foundling, to Grogu,
Yep.
or to the other foundlings?
To the other foundlings.
I think she's both. I mean, I think, being warriors is just so completely in the Mandalorian's blood.
Right.
It's just a given. But I think that she is a maternal figure, especially for the foundlings that don't, if they don't have parental figures there within the Mandalorian people. I think that she's able to walk that line because she's a warrior, but she's, as we've seen, she doesn't pull out the big guns or the big, hammer and tongs until she really needs to. And she is able to be encouraging and nurturing without being coddling and being overbearing. But she's kind of incredible to me in that way, that she's able to do both. She's very strong, but she is maternal as well.
Which episode of The Mandalorian season 3 is your favorite so far?
So far?
Well, out of the ones that you've done for this season.
Oh. Well, I'm not really supposed to say which ones I'm in.
You don't have to say which ones you're in, but which ones are your favorite, if you would say, being Emily?
I'm trying to remember, because we shot them all out of order. So
did you really?
Oh yeah, we were shooting, because the whole time we were shooting, we would go from like shooting a few days for episode 3 to shooting a few days for like episode, it was just bits and pieces of all over the place. From what I remember and what I know, I'm very excited to see. Well, I'm excited to see the last one, to see how it all ends when it's all said and done. I'm excited to see, I think, the 4th one, because Carl directed that one.
Nice.
I'm not sure if I was supposed to say that.
You've been so careful, Emily. You've been so careful.
No, this is so hard. This is why it was easier in season 1 when like I truly knew nothing, because then I could say nothing. I mean, they're all going to be spectacular.
I know, it's the Mandalorian. It doesn't have bad episodes, so it's the way it is. Now, how was your understanding of the armor evolved over 3 seasons?
Oh wow! I mean, it's been incredible, because I came into it. All I really knew when I first started doing it is that, well, in my audition, all I had on this paper was that she was a Zen-like leader of a group of people in hiding. And I didn't really know much more than that when I shot it, honestly, because I mean, everything was so secretive. I talked with John and Dave a little bit, but we didn't really talk much about her being this mentor, from what I remember.
Right.
We didn't talk much about, like, I sort of got the feeling that she was a little bit of an Obi-Wan to Mando. But I don't even think that idea crystallized until I sort of saw the whole season.
Right.
I don't think I got that sense from what I shot, because I wasn't in that many scenes in the first season. And I wasn't privy to the rest of the script. So I didn't really know like how the whole story panned out until I got to watch the season with everybody else when it was released. And then I had no idea, honestly, if I was going to come back, because I wasn't in season 2. I didn't know how she would continue to fit into the story. And then when I came back, when I got the script for the episode of the Book of Boba Fett, things started to really fall into place in a more comprehensive way. And I remember I got on a Zoom call with John and Dave for that episode, because I really needed to know. I was revealing a lot of information, and I wanted to make sure I knew which of it was brand new to the fans, which of it, because as we've talked about, the armorer and as you mentioned, sort of with her being a little bit like Merlin, there are things that she doesn't see the future in a specific way, but there's things that she has a sense about. And so I wanted to know, okay, what if this is new information? What if it is stuff that she's revealing that had been suggested in the past? What had been prophesied? I wanted to make sure I was very specific about that. And then they started telling me that they were laying some of the groundwork for season 3 and things that would be coming up, which was shocking to me because prior to this, I never found out if I was going to be part of the story until like immediately before because of all the secrecy around it. So I was like, wait, I might have job security.
Right.
And so then they told me like how she would be figuring into the story for season 3. And I started to get a sense of how she was connected to Din more. Right. And so I have gotten a feeling more that that there is more of that personal relationship. And I've always sensed that she does see, and I guess after I watched all of season 1, I did see that she does see this great potential in him, and that she does, I imagine, not knowing anything specific about her backstory, that that he is somebody very special to her, and that she sees him as somebody who could kind of lead them to some next phase of their people, to some next season and what they're suffering through. And something of that is happening. I mean, he has gone to Mandalore. I don't know what's going to happen with that next, but it has been interesting to see how when I first went in, I was like, oh, okay, she is this like sort of detached leader of these people. She's very calm, cool, and collected, and that's great. And it's been really cool with the Book of Boba Fett and the beginning of this season to see that she is more invested in right. Din. And there's a little bit of a softening there, if you can even say that with her.
What's been the most surprising part about playing the armorer for you?
I think the impact that she's had. It's been so revelatory to me to go out and meet the fans and do fan conventions and stuff, and to hear what they take away from her and what they get from her. It's really, really remarkable to see how she fits into the universe. And it's so, especially because the experience of actually being in, I look at her, I look at what this costume looks like, and I have a very strong feeling about her, but being inside the suit is really awkward. And as many people have said who have to wear these helmets, you can't see anything.
Right.
I feel awkward inside it. I run into things. And then I look at it, and she's this very dignified, inspiring figure. And so that's sort of weird too, to, feel one way inside it, but to know that it has this impact. So it's just, it's a whole roller coaster.
Now, can you talk about how you emote with the physicality of your performance, since we never see your face?
That has been such a wonderful challenge. And it has really required me and demanded of me that I trust simplicity so much. It really requires me to try a lot less. And I am one of those people who all my life, I'm one of those people who wants to just like work really hard and like show that I can do it. And with this character and with these masks that we wear, and I've done mask work in theater before, and that's very helpful. And especially when you're wearing something like that on camera, any extraneous movement is entirely distracting, and it really takes away from it. And especially with her power comes from stillness. Her power comes from economy of movement. And so if I'm feeling like I want to communicate something, I actually have to do a lot less. And that requires me to trust that whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm thinking, that it's going to come through. And it does, which feels entirely contradictory. And it's such a wonderful journey to be on with her, and such a gift, because I feel like she helps me that way, because I see that I don't have to work so hard to try to communicate, and right. that I can really be much simpler.
Last question I have for you. I was talking to to John and Dave, and I was sitting in a room with them as they were like kind of like debating or not whether or not Luke was a Jedi, and it was like a fanboy experience for myself watching these two creators just
I
kind
know,
of like
right?
talk about this stuff. So for you, can you talk to me about the collaboration process working with John and David on crafting the character?
I want to pinch myself every time because they are so open about our contributions to these characters. They trust us so much. And it's just so ridiculous to me because I mean, you've sat there talking to them. You know how brilliant they are. You know that they know this universe inside and out.
Yeah.
And yet I think that one of the reasons the show is so good is because we all enjoy working on it so much because we all feel like our contributions are so valued. And so it raises our work to another level. It makes everybody so much better and so much more inspired because they trust that at this point, you know, we know these characters and that we do have something valuable to contribute. And so we do get into conversations while we're shooting a scene about, you know, I regularly have conversations with them when there's scenes between the armorer and Din about their relationship and about, okay, but would she, you know, is she trying to get this out of him or is she trying to provoke him to do this? And we talk about the minutia of some of the lines and whether it might be better served this way or that way. And one of the most fun things that we have is you know, we record everything, all of the dialogue while we're shooting it because there's a microphone in the helmet, right. But then we do ADR sessions after the fact. And normally there's not much that they need to do because they've recorded all of it. But because I'm wearing a helmet and we don't have to match mouth movement, we can change lines if we need to.
Right.
And so those become wonderful, collaborative, creative sessions too, because after, you know, we've shot the whole season, if there's something that has been revealed in terms of story and they realize, oh, actually, maybe this scene needs to be a little different and this would help the story, then we can talk in that ADR session about, okay, would this help the character more? Would this help the story more? And they're just so trusting and so collaborative. And it's really, I mean, they inspire all of us to be our best because they trust us so much. And so we do bring our best. And I cannot say enough about what a dream it is to work with them.
Well, look, you guys have the best show on Disney Plus. I mean, that's that it is what it is. It's amazing. It's brilliant. And I hope that I get a chance to meet you in person at Star Wars Celebration this year in London. But Emily,
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. This has been incredible. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.